You know, this backdrop is looking a little light without the... So you know what? I think we'll replace Armada Optimus Prime with something a little bit more light. So without further ado, here's I said here's Gray... You know what? Digimon sucks. Pokemon's cooler instead, despite what controversial games nowadays will tell you. Here's Machamp... Oh, fuck you. We're not doing either of them. So, speaking of Armada Optimus, the last couple episodes have been a little heavy. I'm gonna lighten it up by reminding myself why I love Transformers. So instead of talking about Legacy Evolution, we will be talking about Studio Series or just Rise of the Beasts in general. Kind of sums this whole thing up, doesn't it? That's pretty depressing. So, today we're going to be doing my comfort character, Rhinox, and he's been getting a lot of great Rise of the Beast toys. Now, this isn't all of them. I didn't get the Battle Changer one. Is that what it's called? Like the really tiny, shitty one, which has like a rhino hood. It just looks kind of shitty. I also didn't get the really big one that's supposed to be like this dynamic thing, but I did get the other three. I, of course, got this guy, a little Battle Master. I got the mainline Rhinox, which is surprisingly easy to get for mainline. And, of course, I also got the Studio Series. And in addition, I got his partner, Arcee. Wait, where the fuck is Arcee? What the hell?
Where's the bike? Where's the damn bike?
Oh, here she is. And one more thing to note. Okay, she doesn't want to stand. I also got this guy. Might as well. Yeah. I'll talk about Optimus Primal in a second, but whatever. So this is a lot of figures for me to review in just one sitting. So, I mean, it's really just two figures, a little core class and weaponizers. So, just like last time, we'll just talk about the weaponizers first. No! Monkey Primal. This is my only Optimus Primal I have for Rise of the Beast right now. I'm, at the time of recording this, getting sent the Studio Series. I haven't found the Voyager. In fact, I think it might actually be the rarest of the Rise of the Beast toys at this point, because it's usually going for $50, and unlike Airraiser, who's also pretty expensive, he won't be in any bundles, so... Yeah, I don't know how I'm going to get that one, but I will. I do want to get the 3 toys of every single Beast Wars character. The mainline, the weaponizer, and the Studio Series. So, I still got quite a bit of a road ahead, but I got a majority of them. I got like 8 at this point. And, yeah, this is our first Optimus Primal. I think this is a very nice alt mode. It definitely has character. And he does have a very Ron Perlman head. Yeah, I can imagine that voice coming out of this guy. I think it's a decent update to Optimus Primal. And while this figure isn't perfect, he's got a little bit of just a hollow bit right there. I mean, He also has very superficial fists. Super fists-ols. I'm trying here. I'm not the pun guy, alright? He also has this very blatant weapon kibble on his arms, but I mean, it's not really that big of a deal. It's a little tiny weaponizer guy, and it's a neat little Optimus Primal. He's got nice articulation too, a ball joint for the head, ball joint for the shoulders, and ball joints for the legs, although the joint can get a little bit annoying going from here to here. It's a little tight. It's, I think, tighter on this one. Yeah. I'm trying. It's a lot harder than just doing this one. So basically, it has the articulation of like a Power of the Force figure, or not, an old Kenner Star Wars toy, except they're all ball jointed, which is nice. Although you're not really going to get much mileage out of the up and down on the head, but you know the others. Monkey. I'm just going to transform this guy really quickly because these guys are very easy to transform. You just do that and then you do that. Although I will say, one thing I don't like about it, I think he has my least favorite transformation out of all these weaponizers, because this part is actually kind of annoying. You have to slot this in here, which sounds easy, but it gets caught on itself. You kind of have to wiggle it back and forth a couple of times, and then you have to plug that peg into the slot, which isn't the easiest thing, but there you go. There's one arm. And could it be, for the first time, it's going to be very cooperative? Huh, I guess it is. Neat. And you just turn this head upside down. These feet go like that. And there's his weapon. You know what? For the fact that he's a gorilla, it's pretty good. It looks big. It looks heavy. I don't really have a robot on hand. Oh, wait. Yes, I do. Here's how Peak Monkey looks in the hands of Peak Transformers. Yeah, that looks nice. I mean, the little plug that goes into the hand is pretty tiny, but you know what? When it's actually in there and it's fairly secure, you're not going to notice that. It's nice, it's big, it looks cool, it's nice. Although I really wish that I had an Optimus Primal for this to be held in. Oh well. I guess he also does have... But other than that, like I said, the feet, but they kind of look like a clip, almost a very big one. Very nice and cool looking weapon, so how does it stand? Well, so far we've looked at two other ones. I don't like them as much as the Gator one, but I do like it a little bit more than Cheetor, because what was that weapon mode? It's just a very mid blade. Here's good old Rhinox. It's actually funny. He shares very similar traits to some of the other Rhino toys, but he's also got much smaller ears and horn. He also has kind of a stacked nature. He looks very chunky. He does have decent articulation, but the joints themselves aren't very useful. He's got 4 ball joints in the legs, and that's pretty much it. I do quite like rhinos, though, and also you can technically do the Rhinox yoga pose, so I guess his articulation is neat. But I do quite like rhinos. They are for sure some of my favorite animals. And here is the aforementioned Gator Dude, who in my opinion still is the best one. And spoiler alert, I do still like this one more than this guy, because he's got a very nice gator mode, and also gators are my favorite animals. He transforms in like 2 seconds, and he's a very nice looking gun. What about this guy? Well, I mean, it's a nice Rhino mode, like I said, but the transformation, it's not as bad as Primals, but it's not exactly fun. I mean, you just do that, which, you know, I think it's a nice transformation. You still have Rhino head on the back, but that's fine. It's concealed by these giant, whatever that is. But what I don't like about are these legs. You kind of have to do this, and it's not exactly great. Also, I have 2 of this for reasons that will become quite clear in just a second. And on both of them, the hinges don't really connect well, at least once they go in. Yeah, I see there's like, it's disconnected. Now, it's not going to pop out or anything. It'll stay in place. However, if you try to put pressure on it like that, you will stress these joints out. As shown off with my first version of this mold, somewhere I will show in just a second. But in this, he is a nice looking gun mode, I suppose. It's a nice little Gatling gun, though because of the feet here, it's a little hard for him to be held by a figure. This one, I guess, works fine, although the peg is quite big, but hey, it does work. And yeah, I think it doesn't look as good as this one, but hey, it's a butt blaster from Rhinox. I mean, people only ever talk about when he farted in that one episode, which, if they ever feature him on Death Battle, they should totally do Beast versus Rhinox. He's probably going to win just because I want to see this in Death Battle. This would be hilarious. Just analyze this shot. Just analyze this shot. Please. I need it like yesterday. So here they all are in their weaponized forms. This is roughly in order of when I got them. Like I said, Cheetor is just, I don't know what that is. This is just a nice and simple gun. This is a bigger, kind of a weirder and less versatile, but still effective weapon. And this is just overall good. So, other than Cheetor, not that bad in weapon mode. And here they all are in their alt mode, or animal mode. I guess this is their main mode. Like I said, I think Cheetor is overall the worst, because his alt mode, or his weapon mode, just doesn't look like anything. And while this is a decent cheetah, it's got nice anatomy, The fact that the colors are just so weird, it's like this bright yellow and this gray, which is not accurate to the character at all, whereas these genuinely look like the character, even though he wasn't in the movie. And his tail just is so forced and doesn't really look like a real cheetah tail. It's not bad by any means, they're all good, but it's just this one's my least favorite. And then following that, I'd probably say Primal. I mean, I think this might have the better alt mode over Rhinox, but his transformation's kind of annoying, and I think he's overall more unique and also has a bit more purpose. And then Rhinox is cool, and I do love rhinos, but I like gators more, and he's just more fun to transform. So there's the order of least favorites to favorites. And was there really any doubt? If you know me at least, I don't know.
The damn bike.
And before we get to the big boys, the Rhinoxes themselves, let's take a close look at this core class Arcee. I like the core class line. It's not the same as the normal class or normal size, unless it's characters like Arcee who are supposed to be smaller. So I don't view them as bad, just different, but I genuinely like the core class line. And also, like I said, I think she just fits best with Rhinox. I don't know when I'm going to review another Arcee, because I think there was like a mainline one. There's like a one that combined with like Cheetor or something that people like, because it's bigger, but it also looks way worse, so... Yeah, I mean, I guess this is the best we're going to get for Arcee. And I have to say, I think Arcee as a motorcycle just makes a lot of sense. Now, I did know about G1 Arcee as a kid, but my Arcee toy was the Energon one, which, not a great toy, but for what it wasn't so bad, and I genuinely thought she just turned to a bike, but no, that's just what people tend to do. Except for Earthspark, she turned into like I don't remember what kind of vehicle it was, it's like an old school one, which is weird, but I'm down with that. Probably won't buy and review one, but, you know, just putting it out there. And we've been getting a lot of motorcycles in terms of legacy. We got Prime Arcee, we got Crash Bar this year, we got Prowl, I'm pretty sure there's another one, then we got this. I guess it makes sense because there weren't that many bikes in the War for Cybertron line. They didn't really have any because G1 didn't really have that many bikes. So I guess it makes sense they're making up for it, and... while I do like this bike mode, I really don't like the fact that the kickstand is just a removable weapon and pretty much immobile, so that means it doesn't stand up. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe I am. I'm not gonna rule that out of the realm of possibility. But as it stands, it's alright. It's decent. She's got like a seat back here that is molded into her arm. She's got some fists on the back. They don't look as bad as wheelies. I'll have to review that at some point. Oh wait, visible head syndrome. Just do that. Don't be an asshole. Anyways, this transformation's very simple, so I'm just gonna do it. It's the only thing that's really annoying. First of all, just remove this. Is this arm, but it's more annoying. Other than that, it's very, very simple. But it's getting it back into bike mode where it has a little bit of an annoying thing going on with it. But I mean, this is all nothing special going on with this transformation, except for shifting the legs around. That is kind of neat, and we will talk about it in just a second. So rotate that around. That goes like that. Yeah, it's very simple, as you'd expect, transformation from Arcee. And getting her back into alt mode is a little annoying. You do have to do this. That's not so bad. We're going to leave this unpegged for now, but we'll get it out of the way. This rotates like that. This is still kind of cool. I like this. These knees are really nice. Although I will say, getting the wheels lined up for each other can be a bit annoying. You have to find the one peg. There it is. And the one peg hole. Okay, well, there you go. But, oh wait, this has to be lined up too. So, I mean, it's not hard, but it is just a little bit on the tedious side. So, yeah, you do have to watch out for that. Oh, wait, I forgot. You're supposed to do this first. Oh, joyous day. And then this is supposed to go like that. I've had this figure for like a month at this point. I just said that, you dumbass. And still, transformation isn't entirely fun, but so far it's not unmanageable. It's just a little annoying, and I just need to get it lined up. Line that up. There you go. What is annoying, though, get that down, is this, because you're supposed to, like, plug this in, but it's very tight. It's very tight, so you kind of have to do this first, but then you have to plug this in. But they keep doing this thing where they have, like, a little square peg, but there's a hook, so you don't want to push on it. You have to, like, slide it down, but also plug this one in while this is supposed to be in there, like that. It's just kind of, no, not kind of, very, very annoying. And there you go. Bike mode. Done. Oh, wait. Supposed to do this, aren't you? There you go. Bike mode. Transformation. Don't really love it. It's, other than the knees, just kind of standard and pretty annoying, but getting it back into alt mode for a core class, they're usually just simple and fun, so not great. But how's the robot mode? Well, I'm not, why am I doing this? No, it's, we'll see if it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. If it does, cool. Wow, that totally worked. It totally didn't look like my hand shifted or the Arcee moved drastically or something back there shifted. That probably didn't happen. But wow! So magical. Anyways, yeah, let's just take a look at this Arcee. It's got a good anatomy, I suppose, and for the size, the paint is fairly nice. Though she does have a bit of kibble issues, which I guess for Arcee is normal, but even in the bike mode, or the bike transformer, that's unfortunate. Though I don't mind these wheels, because you can actually do something kind of cool. You can shift these down, untab this, and she can have those wheel feet that she did in the movie. It's not really exact, and it makes her really tall, but hey, it's like a pseudo mode that, hey, it's something for how small this figure is. It's kind of cool that she at least has that. The back, though, I mean, she has the chest, and it's right here. Listen, I think faux parts, complaining about it is like the stupidest thing that Transformers fans do. There's so many things you could criticize with Transformers, but faux parts, when it's done right, is genuinely impressive. This is just not one of those times. It's just like, okay, fake chest, good idea, but the real one's on the back, so, I mean, but look at the size of this figure. It's, listen, I know with Core Class Sludge, I said stuff like, just because it's Core Class doesn't mean it's okay to be bad, but, like, you do have to have some sort of leeway. It has to be competent, as what I'm trying to say. This is competent, though. It still has its flaws, but, like, it's not as bad. All I'm saying is it doesn't look like this, so I think we're good. I don't remember exactly what this wheel is supposed to be in the real one. Maybe it's... I don't remember this character design. And I'll go ahead and say it. We'll talk about... Is it really an elephant in the room? No, we'll talk about the hippopotamus in the room. You know, people really like this redesign of Arcee, and hey, you know what? 80% of it is pretty good. And I don't know why, but I like when Arcee turns red. I like her as pink, but like, when you make her stink... No, it's red. I don't know why I said that. Oh, wait, I know what. No. We're going to move on. We're above that. That's fucked up. I think it just looks cool. But there is one thing I never really liked on this Arcee. I think her head looks fucking ugly. Like, she's got all this wrinkles all over her face. She's got, like, these hyper-detailed eyes. She kind of has this... That's why I don't like the Beast Machines designs. It's not the actual core anatomy. It's the faces. They look off. She has that Beast Machines thing going on. I guess all of them do to some extent. She's kind of like AirRaiser. I made fun of AirRaiser for being ugly. And I know it's a robot, but like, I want robots to either look cool or appealing, you know? I don't like them looking ugly. And this head sculpt's actually fairly good. It's got a little bit of wrinkles on it, but it's not that bad. At worst, looks almost kind of like the split mouth woman, but not really. It's just, I don't know. The real problem I have is that people are, like, really, really horny over this character. And I'm not trying to yuck yums, alright? I don't really care. But what gets me is that this design in the movie is, like, such an average-looking fembot. Below average, I'd say. But you have all these people... gooning out. I hate the fact that goon, which is a word that I loved calling random people, is now used for cooming. Fuck you, Twitter, or fuck you, Internet. Whoever's responsible for that, fuck you for that. But anyways, all these coomers Can you pick a better looking robot? Like that one? Anyways, we're gonna move on all of that. Arcee, she's a decent looking robot, but I think the kibble does ruin the silhouette and make her look a lot dumber than she probably should. A little bit. Also, she's kind of got short arms but really long legs, but that's fine. In terms of articulation, head is on a ball joint that goes back and forth. Not really up and down. We're just going to move on from that. Ball joint in the shoulders that goes all the way around, and because of this joint, you can actually get it up pretty good degree. That's nice. A ball joint in the elbow, fairly standard. Waist swivel. Oh, it's connected. Okay, so the kibble's connected to the back, which is not good. Also, you can remove that so she can, like, hold it. No, we're not doing that. That's terrible. Legs go forward that far. That's actually a pretty good degree. And also back that... Thanks, Kibble. Her legs go all the way out. She's got the fun knees that I talked about, but even without any funness, nice 90-degree bend, but the tire does get in the way. So, yeah, do be careful or in mind of that. And that's pretty much it. I guess she has this joint if you really want to count that, but no. So for articulation for a core class, fairly good. You know what's not fairly good? Her weapon. I don't know what that is. What is that? I don't know. It's like an engine. But is this an alternator now? Are we doing alternators? Actually, considering the fact of how Studio Series is, or at least used to be before it was just 86, I guess it is alternators. So, you know. Here she is with Wheeljack and... Okay, is that why her neck bends like that? I still don't think you can fit in there, love. Yeah, that's not gonna work, is it? Okay, I thought this would scale way better than it actually does. Maybe I think that is just an issue with this. This might just be too small. How does she look with Rhinox, though? Well, that's why I have 2 Rhinoxes here to show you today, and that's why I have them in Rhino mode. And that's what this is all about. That is an old-ass reference. I wonder if anyone knows what that is. Maybe if they eat schlop. First with the Voyager, the standard Studio Series, or whatever it's called, mainline, Rise of the Beast, it's... I don't... Is that right? I don't remember anything about that movie. That's not a good sign. Is it... Here's what the trailer... Okay, this is Studio Series. Let's compare it with the Studio Series. Yeah, pretty good. I think that's an improvement. Rise of the Beast Studio Series Arcee isn't a bad figure per se, but... Wait, there's no buts. It's just an okay figure. Who do you think you are, I am? I guess now it's time to talk about the main course himself, my man Rhinox. And the thought occurred to me, I'm reviewing 2 movie line Rhinoxes at the same time. Why don't I just compare them? You know, in this Rise of the Beasts line of reviews that I'm doing, would help differentiate it at least a little bit, but I mean, the stuff that came beforehand kind of ruins that. But, you know, still. I guess another thing is that they're trying to do 2 different things. This is basically... And pretty much every mainline Rise of the Beast Maximal is, what if we took the character design from Beast Wars and just made them look like they were live action? Like, we took all of the character details of those designs and just made them look more realistic. Whereas these are full front, based off of the movies. 100% movie accurate. Except for A-Razor, she didn't transform in that movie. So this won't be like a direct comparison. I hate when people do that. Like, it'd be like, oh, hey, what's up, guys? It's this one compared to the Kingdom one. Like, no, they're... Yes, I do like this one more, but this isn't a better Rhinox toy because this is trying to do something that's different from this. So I don't think it's a fair comparison. And likewise, I don't think it's a fair comparison comparing it to this guy, because again, they're doing 2 different things, so we're just gonna compare them as 2 Rhinox figures, but we're not here to see which one is better. Because obviously the Studio Series 1's better. This is, spoiler, like one of my favorite Transformers ever. So, you get ready. We'll first start off with the mainline one in his Rhino mode, and oh my goodness, he's so dumpy! He's so fat! I really love the proportions on this guy. The big ears, the stupid fat body, the teeny little legs. He's the cutest ever Rhinox you've ever seen. I love him. I just want to eat him. What the fuck? The coloration is probably my least favorite part of this guy. I don't really get what they were doing. Like with the Cheetor one, it was the colors of Cheetor, you know, the yellow and the blues. It looked good, but whereas this, it's just like the brown and gray. That's not really Rhinox. That's more like some other Maximal. Actually, now that I think about it, no Maximal was that boring. But hey, you know what? For the Rhino mode, it does work, because Rhinox was always brown, so I kind of get what they were going for a little bit, at least in this mode. He's got a lot of mechanical detail. He's got a bunch of holes like he was a Jurassic Park 3 figure. Remember those? Hope so. I actually reviewed one of them. Pay attention if you didn't. Up here on the face, he has mostly what you can see as skin, but then he has these ears, the horns even, and the eyes, and that's all like ripped off and mechanical under detailing, which is cool. He's also got these pistons here. Some people have made fun of his dumpy butt, but like I don't really mind it. It does look stupid, but like this guy just looks stupid. Look at him. Now, if you thought that was stupid looking, look at him. He thinks he's a Transformer. He's so cute! Yeah, this is just silly. And I know we have covered some figures that have some stupid weapon storage. Look, I know we've taken a look at a couple of figures that have stupid weapon storage, and we will review another dumb-looking weapon storage. Not all of them can be Cheetor, okay? Not all of them can be Nightbird. I understand that, but I love this. This is adorable. It's so stupid. Hey, you know what? The price you pay when you get actual chain guns as opposed to whatever Kingdom does, so he actually has weapon storage. I guess I'll take this, because I'd rather just have better weapons that don't have meaningful weapon storage, but at least they're there. Like how Tigatron has the gut gun, and even though it just plugs underneath, I'd rather have that than like what they did with Cheetor, which is disgusting. Right! As far as articulation goes, it's, I'd say, about on par with the Kingdom one, except he's got really good head articulation. Like, damn, for Rhinox, that's really good. He's got jaw articulation. He's got shoulders that go back and forth, and they untab to go out, which looks a little weird, I guess, but it's not really that big of a deal. He also has a bend here, and he can rotate like that. And he's got little bitty tiny... Oh, okay, that's not cute. Supposability is, for a Rhinox toy, fine. I don't really demand that much articulation out of a Rhinox, but for what I do expect for modern Rhinox figures is if he can do the yoga pose from that one really good episode. Can he do it? I don't know what to do with these bottom legs. You can do that, or you can do that. You'll be the judge. So speaking of this bottom area, that actually is one major issue I have with this Rhino mode. What is with all that space? I mean, the Kingdom one had that space there, but like that was for weapons storage. What's this guy's excuse? I guess it's to hold all of that hot air for when he does the fart. Why do I keep referencing that? Everyone does it, and I get annoyed when everyone's just like, oh, Rhinox fart. But then I do it because I'm fucking stupid. So yeah, the mainline Rhinox, it's adorable. And it also is quite stumpy and dumpy, which is pretty accurate to how a Rhino looks. Though, funnily enough, this guy is the complete opposite. He looks stoic. Almost like a horse, which actually aren't rhinos like a subspecies of horse, so I guess that makes sense. And he's also very lean. No, not that kind of lean, you fucking Reddit. I'm talking about his physique. It's a lot slimmer than I expect from a Rhinox, and I don't know. He looked like he had a pretty big head in the movie, so I don't really get that movie accurate alt mode feel. Although from the front, he does look pretty good. It does look like how he does. He is a gray color, which some people have complained about. And I do remember him being like a dark green in the movie, so I don't know how I feel about that. But putting all that aside, this is a pretty special Rhino mode. He doesn't have the giant pointing forward ears that this guy has, but he does have ones that lean backwards, which, from my recollection, at least when it comes to mooses, when a herbivore does that, it means that they're getting ready to fight, so I guess that works for here. And while this horn is very tiny, he's got a big long horn, which it doesn't really lock into place, which is kind of annoying, but, you know, whatever, that's all good. He actually has a tail, which, yeah, none of the other Rhinox figures have an actual tail, and it's very long, so that's kind of weird. And the odd thing is, despite how lean and slim he is, he's got a giant beer gut belly. Oh, same. As far as the detailing goes, he doesn't have the same thing where it's like all this patchy, almost gross detailing. It's more of like this different shades of metals, which I guess is movie accurate. Also, this is very weird. He's got this nice paint applications on the shoulder pads, but there's some spots where it's missing. I think that's intentional, but I could be wrong. Tell me in the comments below if you know if that's supposed to be like that. But yeah, the paint applications, at least on the shoulders, do look very nice. And in other places, it doesn't really have anything, but I'll talk about why I don't really mind that in just a second when we get into robot mode. But yeah, I think it's a cool looking Rhino mode, and it's a decent looking one. It's just not what I usually expect from Rhinos, which are just so stupid. I love them. So yeah, which one has the better alt mode? I don't know. This one I like more because it looks funnier, but like, despite the fact that it does look very funny in the show, is Rhinox supposed to have a funny looking alt mode? I think I kind of like it more when he looks intimidating, so I guess there's that one. In terms of articulation, which I almost forgot, he has head articulation, which is also pretty good. He's got a tiny little mouth, which is actually pretty accurate. Rhinos don't really have the sharpest teeth. I think they only have a bottom row of teeth. Hey, this one actually has that detail too. Cool. Horn articulation, that doesn't count. Shoulders go forward and back. They can go out, but you have to move this should probably talk about that. I'll do it later. If you move this out, you can move the shoulders out at least a little bit, although this is supposed to cover that. You can also bend it here and rotate it, and he also does have paw articulation, which is nice. He's got legs that can go out backwards, and they can go out a little bit. And he's got some feet right there. Oh, and also, again, this is a first for Rhinox, he does have tail articulation. So can he do the yoga pose? Well, you forgot to mention this, but you can pivot the back feet, but that's not how you do yoga, so no. So in terms of articulation, he's not as good as some of the other Rhinox figures. However, he actually does have better articulation than the Studio Series Cheetor, which I find very amusing and ironic, so hey, there's that. Also, he does have kind of stupid weapon storage, but I'll be honest, this doesn't look as stupid. It actually looks kind of cool. It reminds me of that old Siege Ironhide figure with his badass weapon that could either be a hammer or bazooka. You can't really hold this when it's like this, so that's really unfortunate. But we'll talk about that in just a second. Overall, when it comes to the Rhino modes, both are about as equally as good as each other, but I might have to give it to this one simply because it looks funnier and has slightly better articulation, but only by like a little. Actually, no, he doesn't have better articulation. I just tried to be a bit more ambitious with this one's feet, so yeah, screw it, this one's better, but like by a hair. Alright, transformation, and this, my friends, is the most important thing, and the reason why I'm doing this directly after my last two videos, because I need this. This, I'd say, is really the only part of the transformation I don't like. You have to move, not this hinge, but another one right here, which is cool, but it's just kind of annoying. Now, you can't actually pop these out by pushing it like this, so don't do that. And what I find to do is just push it like right here, and when you apply a little bit of pressure, it will pop into place. And that's almost about to pop out, so just make sure that doesn't. It's a little annoying, but hey, it's not the end of the world. If you can't really do it, then just rotate this arm around and just push against it. That also works sometimes. Now the nice thing is, because you're pushing it this way and you're pushing on the edge of this and not the hole, that means that you don't have fear of popping it out, so it's a lot easier to transfer it this way. See, that wasn't so bad. Make sure that these pegs go into there. It's pretty satisfying once you line it up. And there you go. These can pop out of place when you push these out, so I recommend holding your thumb against here and putting your finger right here and just kind of pushing it upwards. And there you go. No popping off. Make sure that you push this up before you open this up to put the rhino head in the body, because if you don't, it doesn't allow it to open it up all the way. And actually, when I do that, it allows it to fold up like that. So you fold these horns out, collapse this, and then open that up. There you go. Make sure that this is all the way like that. And if you didn't transform these yet and push them out, or if this is, say, like that, then when you try to push it in, this won't allow this to open up all the way. So when you have this all transformed up and you try to push it in, it gets stuck, but it's not doing it on camera. It's okay. Just make sure you do this first. That's all I'm trying to say. It's really the only complicated thing that you need to know in order to transform this, because once you figure out how to do that every single time, it becomes buttery smooth. Here's something. When you open this up to shift this around, wait until you close this up before rotating the fists around, because, well, if you don't and you try to rotate this around before closing it up, you have a risk of doing that. I gotta go find that. I had an open toy bin right next to me and it flew right down at the bottom, so that wasn't fun. Things I do for demonstrations, just to make sure that you have as easy of a time transforming this as possible. Oh, and also, I don't know why that's mandatory. I don't even remember if this is supposed to be in Rhino or robot mode. I'm just gonna make sure I'm just gonna have this in robot mode, okay? So that was both of the transformations for these guys. Wow. This one, other than one step, was pretty nice and simple and decently fun. But this one, I didn't show it as much because I was trying to demonstrate how to do it perfectly, and I showed all the pit traps or pitfalls, whatever you want to say, for transforming this guy, so you have a better experience. But man, it transforms like butter. It is one of my favorite transformations. It's so clean, so nice, so smooth. It's incredible. I didn't do it enough justice, which ironic. It's a review. The reason I show the transformation to and from is so you get a grasp of the transformation, because it's 3 toys in one. So I apologize. Just know it's an incredible transformation. Why is the glare so bad? Yeah. Now let's start with this boyo's robot mode first. It's nice, it's bulky, it's decent, it's got nice proportions. It's a good toy of Rhinox, though it falls more along the lines of Generations Rhinox than how Rhinox is supposed to look. I know this may sound controversial, but I actually think that Kingdom Rhinox is a very nice portrayal of his anatomy. He's just kind of wide. He's got tiny little shoulders. Other than his giant legs, he's pretty spot on. I know a lot of people are like, the Generations one's more accurate, but like, I don't think people understand how weird Rhinox looked on the original show. Whereas this guy kind of looks like the Generations figure, where he's got kind of a tiny little body, giant shoulders, and big legs. And actually, now that I think about it, these two figures are fairly similar. Their arm transformation's pretty similar. Actually, their shoulders are very, very similar. They got similar rhino head on the back. They even have similar weapons. Their legs are also fairly big. It's not like the Deluxe Cheetor, where it feels very much like a slight reinterpretation of the Kingdom figure. No, this still does feel like a different toy. Just, it takes some inspirations from this one, which, I mean, why wouldn't you? This is, I think, with the exception of the execution of some of the stuff like the paint applications, a very nice Rhinox figure. Let's get him off because we're not talking about him. We will talk about him later because I do have a lot of things to say about that lad. Anyways, very nice Rhinox. So one thing I do want to bring attention to is the head sculpt. It's not exactly what I'd say a good head sculpt is. It has a lot of that ugliness that, say, AirRaiser has. If I compare the two, you see what I'm saying? They both got this overly wrinkled and not so nice looking. Like, they have all of the details for the most part. They're there, but they don't look quite right. I think the major issue with this one is not only is it overly detailed, but more importantly, I think the coloring is off. You see, Rhinox is a character who has one color for his head, but the secondary color is for, like, his eyebrows or his chin or that mohawk. Whereas this colors in the face really reminds me of Transmetal Rhinox, which I'm going to go on a bit of a tangent here, but does it bother anyone else how Transformers usually portrays Transmetal Rhinox in places other than the toy? They always try to make it super toy accurate, so it looks really not right.
That is fucking terrifying.
But like, none of the Transmetal toys were like that, because they all had weird faces, so they made them look like the actual facial features were like season 1. I hate to do it because this is an old drawing that I made and it's kind of garbage, but I actually do like the core foundations of this interpretation of Transmetal Rhinox, which is this. Yes, I know, bad drawing, but I just wanted to say something. I mean, I'm not going to get Transmetal Rhinox unless I buy Transmetal Rhinox, so I don't really have another place to talk about, so I might as well here. So yeah, I'm not a particular fan of the head sculpt, but hey, you know what? It's a take on a live-action Rhinox, I guess. He also has a painted-in six-pack, which is kind of funny. He also has a lot of nice details. He's got the chains, the pistons. He's quite nice. He also has pretty good texture work on him. Now, in terms of his articulation, he's just got the head. And his shoulders are, much like Kingdom Rhinox, pretty weird, though in my case they have much better QC. They rotate all the way around, and they go out, which is good, but the swivel is right here and the hinge is up here, so it can get a little weird, is all I'm trying to say. Very similar to Kingdom Rhinox, which, I mean, mine is incredibly loose, but he kind of has similar things going on there. So there's that. Other than that, he has a, I guess, Hasbro joint here, the bicep swivel. It's very tight on mine. Elbow bend. No wrist articulation. Oh well. He does have a waist swivel, which is fairly decent. His legs go high up that far. Not really back that far, mostly because of the kibble, but I guess you can get it out of the way like that. That's pretty good. And he also has... Wow. He has a nice thigh swivel and a knee bend, which actually clicks into place, so that's kind of interesting. And it's an okay knee bend, I suppose. He does have some very nice ankles, which can go up and down, and also a decent pivot. And there is Rise of the Beasts Rhinox with both feet flat on the floor. Should probably go a little bit like that. All right, yeah, pretty much, yeah, that's that. That's pretty good. So articulation-wise is fine. It's not, I don't think it's as good as Kingdom Rhinox, but you know what? It's still adequate enough. And I do really like the fact that he goes from a very bulky rhino with tiny little nubs for limbs to a fairly proportionate, bulky man. So that's quite nice. I mean, I think the biggest thing on the rhino was the actual body, and now it's the smallest thing other than obviously the head. But he had a pretty big head in rhino mode too, so good job on that. Now, as for his accessories, he actually has chain guns. Are they as good as the Generations ones? Well, no, but, you know, other than the fact that they don't manual spin, you have to manually spin them yourself. There's no button. It's about on par. They're a little hollow, but, like, I don't really mind. They have a lot of nice details, considering the fact they don't have to be show accurate anymore. They can kind of do their own thing. They got a couple of details, like a bandolier, kind of? Not, I don't think that's what that is. I think that's supposed to be when it's on the chest, like Chewbacca. But anyways, they do spin. Oh, very nicely. Yeah, so, cool. I quite like that. I quite like that quite a bit. So, technically, not really accurate to the movie, but I'm sure because of the production hell that Rise of the Beasts had, they had quite the concept art to go through, so probably change over time. That's probably why the toys look so inaccurate to the movie outside of Studio Series, but I kind of take it as just a substitute for the fact that they're not doing non-movie characters. And what I mean by that is Revenge of the Fallen had a lot of characters. Like, it had a Brawn, it had a Bludgeon, it had a Dirge, it had a lot of characters that weren't in the movie. And that made it so it was a fun line to collect. I don't think Revenge of the Fallen is one of the greatest toy lines ever, but that definitely made it a lot more appealing than something like, I don't know, Bumblebee. So, while I would have liked to see some more, especially some of the concept art characters, like they had a Waspinator, I think they had a Clawjaw, they had some interesting characters. Did they have like a Power Pinch or something? I don't know, they had some fun characters for the concept art. I wish we could see those, but, you know, just different iterations of the characters is fine too. And considering the fact that I'm basically getting duplicates, I don't mind having different takes on them. So yeah, if you're after quality, this figure is quite nice, at least this robot mode. Anyways, let's get to the Studio Series, which at first I was a little weirded out by. He's kind of got Incineroar proportions again. Like, he has a tail, which is kind of funny for a Rhinox. He's got scrawny little legs, this giant upper body. I mean, I obviously like the guy. He's back there. He's hiding. But I just think that's kind of funny. And I also forgot to mention, you do want to plug this in, because when I got him out of the box, he had very floppy knees. I was kind of worried, but nope, you just plug it in. You don't even need to unpeg it for any articulation. In fact, it goes the other way, so yeah, just make sure that's plugged in, and you have yourself an incredibly solid figure. And one thing I want to point out is the texturing. The texturing is very cool. I mean, this guy has it too, but I think it's a little better on this one. It actually reminds me of a Rhino toy that I have, this one. They are very similar of quality, which is pretty cool. This one has a gimmick, though, but it doesn't really work.
He looks like he's jacking off.
Okay. So the fact that a Rhinox toy really reminds me of a Rhino toy in more ways than one is pretty crazy. He also has a lot of nice details. Like there's this scratch here that he really doesn't need, but the fact that they added it looks really nice. Some very, very subtle battle damage. And again, the coloring on the arms, it genuinely looks incredible. It's kind of unfortunate that it's not on the rest of the body, but, you know, the fact that it's so nicely textured and detailed, it kind of makes up for it. And the fact that it's kind of spread over the place, or at least the copper, it's spread all over the place. Yeah, it's just a super nice looking figure. And I do like the fact that both him and Cheetor are very satisfying figures to feel, but for very, very different reasons. Let's take a look at that head sculpt, because we took a look at the other one. Now that is a movie Rhinox. It has pretty much all of the features that you would expect from Rhinox, but they're correct this time. It's not overly complicated. And he does have some very subtle secondary coloring on his eyebrows, his mohawk. I don't think his chin, unfortunately. He does have some underneath his eyes, but it's subtle. It's not too bad. A lot better than just having the entire thing out of just one color and then the insides being a different color. Yeah, this is just a much better use of that. I also think it's very interesting. He's got the horns up here. It really reminds me of Beast Machine's Rat Trap, which maybe is not a good thing. He even has like the hunchback that figure does too. But he's got like, it almost looks like the rhino head, or just the animal head is just smushed onto the back, which I think it's a really cool effect on that figure, and it's pretty cool here too. Don't know why he has the horns on the back, but hey, it's nice. Also some pretty nice detailing on the bottom of the legs. It's all really impressive. Now, as for weapons, like I said, he's got this, which is a really cool looking hammer, which isn't really Rhinox's thing, but hey, I'm flexible. I'm not closed-minded on what kind of weapons Rhinox can have. And like I said, it does kind of remind me of the Siege Ironhide one, because you can transform it like that, but he does not really hold it like at all, so you can't do that. However, if you do want him to have some chain guns, well, let's bring back in our little Battlemaster buddy. And I actually picked up a second one. This is my original one. See what I kind of mean? Because it's got some stress marks right there. So, I mean, just as long as you're not trying to do this, there's going to be some space, like right there. There's a little bit of a space right there. It's fine. Just leave it be. It'll be okay. The one problem, though, is that it's kind of annoying to get these inside the hand. They are very tight, and also those pop off. So, I don't know why those weren't just glued in, but it does make plugging these into the hands a bit annoying. But, hey, it's not impossible. And with it, well, they don't really match color-wise. The brown is a little dark and poo brown as opposed to the copper. But, hey, looks like Rhinox with some chain guns, except he's holding himself as the chain guns. You're having a Rhinox that turns into a rhino, and his chain guns also turn into a rhino.
That's amazing.
Kind of weird that I talked about his accessories before the articulation. I guess we can get onto that right now. His head is on a ball joint that can move up and down, despite the fact that it doesn't really move that well up and down. It is actually more useful than turning it left and right, because it's kind of awkward to get into the head articulation, but it isn't impossible, so just keep at that. He does have, I guess this is really the one flaw with the robot mode, these shoulders are a bit of a mess. These can move out and allow the arms to move out. But number one, these pop off very easily. You've already seen it. But number two, these get unpegged very, very easy. I don't even know why. You have to lift this up in order to plug it back in, but it just comes out. That's so weird. But I mean, even if it does get unpegged, it's a butterfly joint, even though it's the opposite way. But hey, it's better than nothing. I guess that's a flaw that can be kind of a positive, so not so bad. Anyways, his shoulders go out that far. He's got a bicep swivel and a nice bend in the elbow. Wrist articulation. He, of course, does have a waist, and his legs go forward that far. This can move up, but it doesn't really help much, nor does that. They can also move back that far. They go out, I guess, all the way, but it's just kind of picky. There we go. A thigh swivel.
though it is kinda weird and a little limited. He does have the knee bend, which is a little lower than I'd like, but hey, it's still fine. And finally, his feet actually do move up and down a lot better than the other one and pivot pretty well. And there he is with both feet flat on the floor.
That's pretty good.
So yeah, articulation, pretty good. It has a couple of annoying things that pop out of place, but other than that, for a Rhinox figure, pretty incredible articulation. Overall, it's a very nice and clean robot mode. Very satisfied with it. So, while this isn't really a direct comparison because I think both are worthy in your collection for different reasons, I do think it's time to compare the results. So, when it comes to this mainline Rhinox, it's very solid, and surprisingly, at least in my experience, it's very easy to come across. It's a very satisfying Rhinox. It's got a cool robot mode with decent articulation, a decently fun transformation, and the cutest itty-bitty Rhino mode you've ever seen. A nice take on a movie Rhinox, and if you can get it, like I said, definitely worth the pickup. Now, as for this guy, oh man. You know, I remember back in my Cheetor review, which I was very satisfied with that figure, but I said to myself, I am really excited about that Rhinox, because it feels like it's going to be very similar, not like it's the same toy, but it's going to have a very similar experience of quality, except Rhinox is my favorite character, and it turns out he was even better than I was expecting. His robot mode is incredibly solid and a really good adaptation of Rhinox in a movie line. His Rhino mode, while a little bit more stoic than I'd expect from a Rhino mode, is very clean, and that transformation's on a whole nother level. It's just such a fun toy to have, and if you do like Rhinox, you owe it to yourself. This guy is definitely worth having, and is my second favorite. Actually, no, I think he might be my favorite, but he is the second best Rise of the Beast toy I've looked at so far. And there you have it, the review of Rhinox, and Arcee and Optimus Primal. I think these are all pretty nice figures, and we got a couple more Rise of the Beast reviews out of the way, and I think that unfortunately this might be some of my favorites, so it'll be a little bit downhill from there, but we've still got some figures I'm looking forward to, so yeah, that's it. I don't know if I'm going to 100% finish this, do everyone from the main line and everyone from Studio Series. I think I'll do most of them. I'll see where we stop, but for now, I'll see you later for more Rise of the Beast reviews.